Well, in case you've been under a rock, yesterday at the U.S. Capitol building, Trump supporters stormed the Capitol building, caused the session to be temporarily suspended, and a man with a Viking helmet got up onto the speaker's podium. Yeah, that happened. Yeah, so welcome back to the Colorblind Architect podcast. I'm your host, David, and what a day yesterday was. Now, the funny thing is, I was so busy with work, meetings, and everything that I didn't find out until late in the day about the storming of the Capitol building. And the more I find out about the storming of the Capitol building, the more I'm thinking it really was not that big of a deal. I mean, yes, it was wrong. It was stupid, especially for anybody thinking that that was going to help Trump. That was so stupid. I mean, if anything, that turns the tide of public opinion against Trump and Trump supporters. Which is why many Trump supporters are now saying, yeah, we think this was Antifa and infiltrating. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm not so sure I see the evidence, but sure, I'm open to that possibility. But I'm also not going to hold my breath and think that that's going to be the real case. The fact of the matter is that Congress went back into session right after everything was cleared up by the Capitol Police. And I'm sure by now they've already certified the vote. I haven't checked as of this morning, but who freaking cares? We know what's going to happen. At this point, let's just admit that it's going to be a dark winter. That's what Joe Biden called it, by the way. Don't try to blame me for, saying, "Oh, you're being mean." No, I that was Joe Biden saying that we were going into a dark winter. Talking about his own presidency. Well, I know he was talking about COVID, but it is ironic that he was talking about going into a dark winter as he's about to come into power. Now, I also don't think he's going to last very long. I think he's senile, and I think the Democrats know it, and I think they're going to get him inaugurated just so that his corporeal presence can be there. And then as soon as it's convenient, they will find an excuse to invoke the 25th Amendment and have Kamala take office. And at that point, yeah, what a disgusting human being she is. But largely because she was jailing a bunch of black people for marijuana possession in California, and yet didn't bother pushing for them to be released once marijuana was legalized. And yet we're supposed to be happy that she, a person of color, is now ascending to a lofty office. And my thought is, huh? So, yeah, here we are. Where do we go from here? It's going to be a dark winter. We know that. After all, build back better. Build back better. The really creepy slogan of Joe Biden that turned out to be plagiarized, surprise, surprise, plagiarized from the World Economic Forum and their global reset policy. And John Kerry, who is likely going to be the Secretary of State under Joe Biden, has already said that the Great Reset's going to come faster than you can even imagine. And I'm like, oh, fun! So, global communism coming our way! Woohoo! Yeah. So, here's the thing. What does this mean for the average person? What does this mean for life. Well, we already know that Joe Biden talked about raising taxes, even though he tried to claim that he wasn't raising taxes. Oh, I'm not raising taxes. I'm just repealing the Trump tax cuts. Yeah, if you repeal a tax cut, that effectively raises people's taxes. You can't just go back to the level before and claim that that was the normal, when for the last 3-4 years we've been living under the normal of lower taxes, and then expect us to be happy that you're taking our freaking money away. Okay? Oh, but we're supposed to be happy because you sent us $600 checks. By the way, where the hell is my check? I still haven't gotten it. I'm not looking for it necessarily, but seriously, government ineptitude. And we're supposed to think that government's going to solve all our problems. Well, yeah, that's why, honestly, lately I've been thinking that it's time to retreat from politics and just focus on the things that I can actually control. I haven't actually been all that active in politics. I mostly just follow it because I feel it's important to, as a citizen, to be well informed, so that when I vote, I'm making well-informed choices. Now, here's the problem. Nobody else seems to be doing that. Eek. Yeah. We've got a lot of really stupid people out there voting. And that's not to say that it's only on one side. There's stupid people on all sides voting. I think it's dangerous to have any stupid person voting, but how do you divide the stupid from the smart people? It's kind of hard to do, and I've had arguments in the past with people about this. When I was younger, I always thought, well, why can't you just have a citizenship test to make sure people are actually, competent enough to actually vote? And I was chastised by a friend of mine who said, yeah, but Dave, that would be a violation of the Voting Rights Act from 1965. I'm like, huh? So I looked into it, and yeah, apparently there used to be tests in order to verify people's competency, but unfortunately, a lot of times that was used in order to disqualify minorities. Now, granted, it was a little bit racist of people to argue that case, because it's also assuming that black people weren't educated. Well, most of them weren't, so that's why back then it was valid, but now most of them are educated, so it's not a valid criticism anymore. I get so sick and tired of the racism of these people. And by the way, sun just popped out from behind a cloud, so that's why you're seeing this lovely effect. And I could try to adjust my location. Let's see if I can just do that real quick. Make the lighting a little bit better. Oh, no, just like that. Oh, not quite, but close enough. Okay, so yeah, hopefully the lighting's better now. Okay, so hopefully you're still able to hear me. Hopefully turning on the car didn't mess things up. But yeah, so here we are. Yeah, so back to the voting rights. So often we had minorities being kept from the polls as an excuse for why we needed to stop doing poll tests. And I get it. A poll test at the time of the poll is stupid. I don't think you're ever going to be able to get it through. Even though, here's the irony. My wife, who's an immigrant, she took the citizenship test. She passed it. She is a citizen. She has been for 14 years now. Now, here's the thing. She had to pass a citizenship test. Okay? In order to be able to be a citizen and vote in this country, she had to pass a citizen test. Now, if you're born in this country, though, even if you drop out of school and you never pass high school civics, you, my friend, are eligible to vote, despite the fact that immigrants actually have to pass it. I think there's a disconnect here. I think maybe we need to consider re-implementing some kind of policy like that, because we have too many stupid people voting. The Voting Rights Act also has been used as an excuse, especially by Democrats. For a long time, Democrats argue the case that minorities are, they have a harder time getting photo IDs. So you can't expect photo ID for elections. Yeah. Wow, aren't you a racist, Mr. Democrat? Because last time I checked, every black person I've ever known and every Hispanic I've ever known has a driver's license. In fact, for our Hispanic friends, they even get to take the driver's test in Spanish. Yes, that's right. Anybody and everybody who wants a photo ID can easily get it. It's really not that hard. And you know what's also interesting? You go through there, you get your license at the DMV. They have a little checkbox. Register to vote. Yes, it's really that easy. So if you're already getting a driver's license and you check the box to register to vote, then why is it wrong to ask somebody to show their photo ID in order to prove their identity when they show up to vote at the polls? Democrats, I think you have something to answer for. However, you don't, because you took it a step further. You pushed for universal mail-in ballots. And for some reason, the idiots in my state, the idiot Republicans in my state, went right along with it and said, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Let's not ask people for ID at all. In fact, let's just mail them a ballot without them asking, and I'm sure there's never going to be any fraud. Anybody, maybe filling it out for, a deceased family member, or, maybe filling it out for grandpa who's now, a bit senile and doesn't really know what's going on. But hey, he got a ballot, and now his daughter who's caring for him, who is maybe thinking, well, he would have wanted this person anyways. That's not your right. That's not your right to say. If he's senile, he shouldn't be voting. And it's okay if he doesn't vote. Here's the thing. I'm so sick and tired of people saying that we need to get more voter turnout, more voter turnout, more voter turnout. How does that help? And yes, there is a crow now resting atop my car. So yeah, that's the fun of being out here at the lake doing this video. So we've got way too many people voting. And it's not that I don't want everybody who's legitimately has the right to vote. I do. That's great if you want to. What I'm saying is, if you don't care enough to notice, then I don't want you voting. Okay? I really don't want somebody who's not paying attention voting. Now, if you vote, am I going to cry? No, that's your right. But should you be encouraged to vote if you're not paying attention? No. In fact, it's actually really quite obnoxious that people do get pushed into voting. even though they shouldn't. And let me see if I can adjust the lighting just a little bit more, because this is terrible lighting. Absolutely terrible lighting. Thank you, son. Anyways, so back to the topic at hand. Where do we go from here? Well, obviously the Republicans gained a lot of seats in state legislatures. The census results have come back, and it looks like Texas gained 3 seats. Florida gained 2 seats. Arizona gained a seat. Colorado gained a seat. Oregon gained a seat. Montana gained a seat. And I forget what the other one was, but there was one other state that gained a seat. Sadly, not Utah, even though it's been growing like crazy here. But yeah, I was hoping that we would gain an extra seat, but oh well. You know, it's okay. We still have 4 seats, so that's better than nothing. So with that, hopefully the Republicans will gerrymander the hell out of it and try to make it so as few Democrats can win as possible. Because as much as I hate the Republicans, I hate the Democrats more. So, anyways, let's get back to this topic of where do we go as people. I think ultimately we need to, as people, we need to come together with our families. We need to be closer with our families. We need to try really hard to raise our kids up right. And just buckle up for a really rough ride the next few years. You know, I do not take this as investment advice, but I know personally I sold all my stocks yesterday. Not that I think that it's unsafe to be in the stock market. I just think stock market's up really high right now, at some of the highest levels it's ever been. And I don't think that's going to last. I think there's going to be a market correction in the very near future. And so I would suggest, if you do have stocks, get your money out of it, you know? But don't take my advice. I'm not a fiduciary. I'm not a financial advisor. Just, that's what I'm doing personally. And then, you know, I would say try to have savings, but with the hyperinflation that we could be potentially looking at, I don't necessarily recommend keeping money in savings. I would instead suggest food storage first. So go out, buy food storage, make sure you have all the food storage and toilet paper and necessary supplies that can last you. If you are getting food storage, actually look into getting food storage that lasts a good long time. So the freeze-dried stuff is really good. Once you fill up that, and if you still have money that you need to stock away, buy real estate. That's good if you can afford it. Buy gold if you can afford it. Buy things of lasting value, because buckle up, it's going to be a rough few years coming up. Am I worried about what is going to happen in my profession? I don't know yet. It's too early to tell. I think that there's still an extreme housing shortage. So as an architect, I'm thinking, okay, well, even in down times, you still have to build housing. So ideally, and especially since I focus on building apartments, and especially affordable housing apartments, then I'm hoping that I should be in a relatively safe place. But still, gotta diversify. Try to make sure that you plan ahead, and make sure you have try to make sure you have physical stuff to survive by. I do not think that money is going to be worth anything in the future, and so my thought is, spend what you can on emergency essentials, making sure that you have what you need. Um, I would say, buy a gun, buy ammo. That's up to you. Um, it's a personal choice. I'm grateful for the Second Amendment, but it is a personal choice. You should make that choice yourself. But most importantly, be reading your scriptures. Be reading your scriptures with your kids. And really understand the Constitution, really understand the scriptures, really understand history, and just be ready. Ready yourself. Like I said, it's going to be a rough few years. I hope I'm wrong. I hope God touches the heart of Joe Biden and hopefully turns him towards the light. Hopefully upon realizing that the weight of the world rests upon his shoulders as president, I hope that Mr. Biden will listen to the Holy Ghost and not listen to the communists who he affiliates with. Yeah. I don't have high hopes for that. But that's my hope. And so, hopefully this video is helpful in some way. I'm going to keep trying to make videos. I'm hoping to shift the focus a little bit in future episodes. I'd like to focus a little bit more on various topics of interest to me, especially now that the political situation's a little bit more settled. There doesn't seem to be as much to talk about in the news, at least on the political front, and frankly, I'm sick and tired of it anyways, and I want to talk about things that are just a little bit more interesting. I'd like to talk a little bit more about history, a little bit more about architecture, a little bit about more city planning, maybe a little bit more about nature and science and things like that. And whether you like these videos or not, that's up to you. But if you do, hit the like button, hit subscribe. Sure, I mean it helps, but you know what? I'm not trying to make money off of this. I'm doing this because I need a place to vent, and you people listen, all two of you. So, anyways, thank you for spending time with me. I'm the Colorblind Architect. Peace out.